You're listening to The Time-Saving Teacher from Scattered to Strategic with Alison Howd. Hi, welcome back. Today I want to tell you about the first system I ever built. And it was not built by me. It was built with the help of my mom and dad at our kitchen table with a piece of paper and a pencil. Back in 1995, I was teaching my first year at a small Christian school. I had 10 or 11 kids, self-contained, and honestly, I was really good at it. I loved it. I taught second grade, and I connected with those kids. I've always felt like teaching is something I'm genuinely gifted at. But that first year, I did not have any kind of organization system. And it was not because I was lazy. I was living at home with my parents after college. I was dating the guy who's now my husband. And I was just living my life. I was not thinking about the paperwork side of teaching at all. I was just doing all the fun things, and I was not matching that with any kind of system yet. And it wasn't until getting ready for that second year of teaching that I actually built something. So over the summer, I had been watching how other teachers around me ran their rooms and comparing that to what I had been doing. And I realized my organization needed to catch up to the quality of my teaching. And that is when my seat work problem finally got solved. Now, let's go back to that first year. My kids had consumable workbooks, and they would have to tear out the pages and then turn them into me. So the pages, of course, were getting ripped, and I would have to tape things, and that was a lot. So that summer, we just brought all of the books home, and it was all in my parents' dining room, and it was a lot. And they helped me, and we would tear out all the pages and then collate all of them, and it was a lot of work. But what happened is I was working on a system. Because my students had all of that seat work every day, and I needed a way for them to pick up their papers and do the work and turn it back in without total chaos every single time, because I was working with small groups during that time. So during that summer, again, my parents and we went through and got all those papers out, but we sat down and I said it out loud. Here's my problem. I have kids who need to grab these pieces of seat work. They have 4 or 5 pages. They need to do them and then turn them in. And right now, there's no way for that to happen smoothly, because what happened before is they were all turning them in all in one big batch that was not organized. There was no system whatsoever. Now, neither of my parents were teachers, but they grabbed a piece of paper and we started sketching it out together. And little cubbies was our answer. So one side of the cubbies was for picking up work, and then they would turn it in on the other side of the cubbies, and everything matched. And they would just go to the next section and pick a paper up, go back and do it, and then turn it into that same section. My dad built this for me, and that was the first system that ever ran my classroom, and it changed everything for me that year. I want you to notice what actually happened there. I did not become a more motivated person. I did not try harder. I built a system with help, and that system did the work that motivation could not do on its own. That's the whole idea behind this episode. Most of us think that our organization problems are personal failures. We think if we just cared more or tried harder, stayed later, we could get it together. But I was already caring. I was already trying. And what I was missing was a system. It wasn't that I was missing willpower. Now, that comparison is actually what got me there in the first place. During that first year, I started paying attention to how the other teachers around me ran things. The first grade teacher sent home a folder every single day. And watching her is part of what made me realize over that summer that my organization needed to catch up to my teaching. And once I had that cubby system in place, turning in papers stopped being a daily crisis. So here is the part people do not expect. Getting your systems figured out once does not mean you're done forever. Because fast forward to 2014, I moved to a brand new charter school. It's a public school, but being a charter school makes it different from a regular public school, and it was completely different from anything I had ever done before. And on top of that, the school itself was brand new, and everyone there, including leadership, we were all trying to figure things out as we went because there was no established way of doing things yet to fall back on. And that first year nearly broke me. Everything was new. The curriculum was new, the schedule was new, the expectations were new, and there was no one already there who had it figured out. And I was doing good just to keep my head above water every day. Now, it took that whole first year and a very intentional summer after it to rebuild my systems for that new environment. I started small. I picked a day, like Wednesday, to start prepping the next week's lessons. And I picked Friday as the day I did not leave until every copy was made and every drawer was loaded from Monday through Friday. And it took work up front, but it meant I was never scrambling at 7 a.m. wondering what I was teaching that day. Now, the system was not something I built once at 22 and coasted on forever. I had to rebuild it every time my situation changed. New school, new grade, new job. Same principle every time. Find the actual bottleneck. Build one small system to fix it and let the system carry the weight instead of your motivation. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, but where do I even start? Here's what I would tell you. Stop looking at your whole day and thinking you need one giant system to fix everything. That is not what happened for me. It was one specific, annoying, repeating problem. For me, it was papers in, papers out. For you, it might be how kids line up, how you collect permission slips, how you plan your week, or how you respond to the same 3 parent emails over and over. Pick the one thing that drains you the most, the thing that you dread every single day, and ask yourself the exact question I asked at that kitchen table. What's actually happening right now, and what would need to be true for this to run itself? You do not need to be the one who solves it alone either. My parents were not educators, and they built the exact tool I needed because I described the problem clearly. And sometimes the fix comes from someone completely outside of education because they're not stuck seeing the problem the way you always have. If you want a simple way to think through your own version of this, the Teacher Systems Lab GPT walks you through building systems like this for whatever is draining you right now, step by step, without needing to figure it out all alone. It's linked in the show notes if you want to check it out. But even without that, here is your one thing to try this week. Name the one task that is draining you the most right now. Not 5 things, just one. And ask yourself what a simple system, even a hand-sketched one on a piece of paper, would look like for that single problem. You do not need more motivation. You need one good system. That is what turns scattered into strategic. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Every episode comes with a free resource to go with it. So you don't just hear the idea, you can actually use it. You'll find today's download linked right in the episode description. Grab it, no email required. And if this episode helped, the best thing you can do is hit subscribe so you don't miss next Tuesday.